We are on now day 3 here in the Isle of Lewis and Harris, and we've come down to the south of Harris. You've got the very, very famous iconic beach, and for the love of me, I've completely forgotten the name of it, so I'll put it down the bottom here so you know where it is. Very iconic beach where a lot of people tend to take pictures. We're just doing a scouting mission today, driving around all around kind of southern Harris and seeing what's to photograph, seeing all the locations, and then find somewhere hopefully for sunset, which will be really nice. So it's turned out to be a beautiful day. It's a little bit windy. Wind is a bit cold, but it's a warm sun, which is really, really nice. And this is the lovely, lovely spot. You have right behind me, parking area just over here, where everyone kind of parks, and then we've come off the road up into the bog a little bit, and then just sit down here. Bob unfortunately did get his foot into a tiny little bog, and yeah, got a little bit wet, but you know, that's what happens when you're here in Scotland. Camera's all set up. At the moment, just a simple polarizing filter is on. F11, 320th of a second, ISO is 200. My composition is just this. We're going nice and wide. Not really bringing the beach in too much, but it's just nice just to be there. Probably going to introduce a nice gradient filter just to keep that detail in the sky. But right now, I'm just simply playing around with the polarizing filter, just so I can get enough detail off that sky, which is looking really, really beautiful. So the one of the things I kind of mentioned this morning when we were photographing the sunrise, I dropped my camera into a pool of water, a little rock pool of water up on the cliff, and it looks like it's goosed. Nothing's wanting to work on it, and I think there's some water got inside it. So at the moment I'm filming on my GoPro, which, you know, it worked perfectly fine before. I got the Canon, so hopefully it'll work perfectly fine for doing the rest of this trip, and I'll get home and have to get it fixed or order up a new one. So we just finished lunch, stopped at a beautiful little restaurant for some fantastic smoked fish chowder. We would probably call it sking. And just driving down the road, the beaches all around are absolutely phenomenal. The sun's beaming down behind us. The light on the beach is stunning. The blue waters, the turquoise sand in the water, the normal sand is vibrant, and then you've got these massive mountains all behind, and it's lovely. And we're shooting handheld, so not restricted to the tripod. And it's just weird to be photographing at 3:30 in the afternoon, and this beautiful sound of the waves crashing up against the rock in front of us. This could be a contender for coming back and photographing the sunset here. I think this is going to be a great contender. I think I've maybe found my favourite spot of all. Again, rubbish with the name of the place, but I'll put it at the bottom so you know where I am. But I can see this being a very, very popular spot, and I'm also sitting on a nettle, and it just stung me under my leg. Ow. Oh. I think I'm in heaven, I really am. So we've got a few shots here. Nice, just simple shots, nothing too technical, and we're now going to head further south down to the salt flats, the southern part of Harris. And I think Bob's here with me, taking his iPhone photographs. I think we're going to possibly come back here for the sunset. I think this could be a great contender for it.
Sleeping through the edges of my soul.
driving around the south part of the island for probably a good 2 hours now, just checking out a number of different locations. And the thing about Lewis and Harris is the landscape changes so much. So in the north part of Lewis, you know, it's very flat and very barren, very exposed. And then you come down more into the middle of Harris and you get the mountains, especially the west coast, a lot more mountains, absolutely cracking landscape. And then you then come into Harris, it completely changes. You've got these beautiful beaches everywhere, high mountains. It's definitely the more scenic location, but there's something about Lewis as well that's also very, very beautiful. But Harris, I can understand why it draws so many people to come there. But we've now come down to south of Harris, and you know, from the location behind me, you can see North Uist to the west, and then it comes down all the way down to Skye in the mainland, and it's just, oh, it's beautiful scene. It's so far away as well. But you can see behind me, this location here is so open and exposed to the elements that it's really barren. You've got heather, you've got these little mini lochans all over here, and then you have the mountains, but just so much rock is exposed. The higher part over this way here as well reminds me of a lot of parts of the Faroe Islands where it's really exposed, and that wind and the snow and the rain and everything has just wiped out the whole vegetation, except for, of course, the heather. So we've come down to this spot here, and the lighting conditions are terrible for doing this, but I just want to get a shot for my records so I know when to come back. And I think this might be a very, very lovely location for sunset, just as the sun drops down that horizon, maybe some nice clouds. But it's very possible that the mountains over here would also block the sunset. It might go into too much shade. So I think this is going to be one of these locations that you have to visit few different times to know when's the best time to come, and also what time of year. It's very possible as well the later summer, as the sun rises further down, it would fill this whole area here as well, so this might be quite nice for sunrise. I definitely think before doing a workshop, even launching a workshop here, you need to visit it in every season and see what works and spend a lot of time. So I think that's the plan over the next probably 9 months, is I'm going to visit as often as I can, travel around and return to all these different locations and see when they're best to photograph. And it could be incredible. It's the most beautiful islands. They really are absolutely stunning. I set up my composition, and we have this little mini loch or a lochan over here, kind of curving round, and then there's just little bits that stick out which kind of break it out, which is absolutely beautiful. Higher up here, I was kind of just over this way here, looked down onto it, so it gave that nice perspective. And then down here I'm a little bit lower, so it's going across a little bit better. So the plan is to see whether this location here is going to be best, or heading back up there, Bob's just up here somewhere, and just seeing if maybe being up the higher end is better. Sun is up here, so it's coming down. It's really harsh. It's very hazy all along the back there. So it's a case of just, you know, staying, waiting to see if that sun drops down, or very likely probably just move to a different location. I think we've settled on going down to one of the beaches for sunset. I can't remember the name of the beach though. So set up my composition, again 24-70mm lens, polarizer on, 0.6 ND soft graduated, f11, ISO is 160, and my shutter speed is 40th of a second, and I'm actually underexposing by 1 stop just because that's sun coming through, and it seems to be coming quite nice. I'm shooting wider, so I'm going to probably crop it down to a panoramic later on, just so I can kind of bring in that loch and everything like that, and I'm doing that for each different one. So we've actually decided to change location and head down closer to the water. There's a hill just in front, a little tiny mound just in front that we're going to go and stand on. And then that way we're almost on top of part of the water where we start to have some little bits edging out of it. That could be a bit of a nicer location. Unfortunately, we have to navigate through these bogs. Make sure we don't lose our footing down a hole like Bob's done already. So you just got to be very careful when you're crossing these flats because it's very, very wet. And then you have these little streams that come out of nowhere and then into here. And some of these are really deep. This one's not so much, but that's just full of just mud and horrible nastiness. And sometimes you can find dead sheep in them, dead animals, dead deer. It ain't pretty. Walk up here, little summit just up here. What a view. What a beautiful view. That will do very nicely. So we've been here for about an hour and the sun's it's a phenomenal location. It's a beautiful, beautiful location. And it's definitely one of Bob's favorite locations and I really do like it as well. So this is somewhere we could probably come back in the future, different times of year. But we're now gonna head back to the beach, I think. We're gonna go for a little more drive and then make our way back to that big beach where we were before and get settled in for the sunset, which is still a good 4 or 5 hours away. So we're going to find something to do between now and then. But all in all, this is lovely, really nice, got a little bit of sun, quite happy.